All right, in this video I'm going to talk about the discriminant, what it is, and what it tells us. All of us by this point are probably familiar with the quadratic formula. If you haven't seen it in a while, let me give you a brief little refresher here. It's x is equal to opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, and this is used to solve quadratic equations that are in standard form. So a little reminder about standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Okay, and what you notice is that all of these pieces, the a, b, and c, are what end up inside of the quadratic formula when we actually solve for x. So that's all great. What on earth is the discriminant then? The discriminant is specifically this piece of the quadratic equation. Simply, it is the b squared minus 4ac. All right, so the discriminant is the b squared minus 4ac. Now, what does it tell us? Well, it tells us one of three things. If b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, greater than 0 means we have some kind of positive value underneath the root. That means I could take the square root and I would get two real solutions. Okay. Now I don't know what those solutions are, but I know that there's two real solutions. Okay. Graphically, for those of you who are graphically inclined, what that would mean is that your quadratic, your parabola, is crossing the x-axis 2 times. Now, whether your parabola is concave up or down doesn't matter. Okay, so that's one option. B squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. Another option, you could have b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0. Okay, well, if we have equal to 0 here, I can take the square root of 0. It's 0. And whatever this value is here for opposite of b, if I add 0 to it, I'm still going to get opposite of b. And then if I subtract 0 from it, still going to get opposite of b. So instead of having two answers with that plus minus, what you actually end up with is one real solution. Okay. Graphically, what just happened? Well, graphically, it means that your quadratic, your parabola, touches the x-axis only one time. Okay, it literally bounces off. Think about it as like a ball bouncing off the x-axis. So one real solution, and that's it. The third option, all right, because we have three things going on here, and I'll go ahead and put up above because I'm running out of space. The third option is you could say that b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. Well, less than 0 means that you would have a negative number underneath the radical. And if you try and take the square root of a negative, you end up with imaginary values. So if you get imaginary answers, you have 0 real solutions. Now, what on earth just happened graphically? Well, if we draw our xy coordinate grid, and then let's say we have a parabola that's up here, when we're looking at solutions, we're looking for when this curve crosses the x-axis, and the answer is it didn't. So if it doesn't cross the x-axis, you don't have any real solutions. Okay? So you can cross twice, you can just touch the x-axis once, or you don't have to touch the x-axis at all. Okay? So that's what the discriminant is and what it tells us. Let's go ahead and see if we can put it in practice. And it says in these directions, now I've written all around the directions here, use the discriminant, right, b squared minus 4ac, to find the number of real solutions. So I'm not asking you to tell me what the solutions are. I just want to know how many I have. Okay, that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and get some of these problems worked out. So here we go. All right, so example number 1 here, we've got 3x squared minus 8x plus 2 is equal to 0. That is in standard form. Awesome. So I've got my b value of -8 squared minus 4 times 3 times 2. go ahead and throw that directly into a calculator of choice or whatever your technology is. So let's see here, times 2. I get an answer of 40. Okay. Now, 40 doesn't tell me what my solutions are. What it tells me is that this is positive. So that means I have 2 real, that's the word real, solutions. Okay. So that is my answer, 2 real solutions. Okay. So let's see what the next one has in store for us. Problem number 2. Okay, it's in standard form again. Love that setup. So I'm going to use b squared minus 4ac. Okay, again, directly into your technology of choice in terms of figuring this out. And hey, if your brain cells make this work for you and you can do it in your head, great, you do that. Okay. So I get a discriminant value of negative 31, which means, obviously, that's a negative number. So I have no real solutions. All right. There are solutions to this problem. They're imaginary solutions. Okay, so no real solutions. All right. Moving right along to number 3 here. Number 3, we're going to pause here for a second because this is not in standard form. And in order to make the discriminant or the quadratic formula work, you have to have a problem in standard form. So I'm going to take a second. I'm going to write it in standard form. All right, so plus 10x minus 11 is equal to 0. Now that it's in standard form, I can do the quadratic, actually the discriminant part of the quadratic. All right, so b squared minus 4, a is 1, c is negative 11, into my calculator of choice, because I have ideas on what this is, but I didn't want to screw it up. So 144 is what I'm getting. So positive value here, which means I have 2 real solutions. As long as I spell the word real correctly. All right, so again, if it's positive, this doesn't tell me that my solutions are 144 or anything like that. It's just a positive value, so I know I have 2 real solutions. Okay? Let's go ahead and hit on down to problem number 4 here. Number 4 is in standard form. I like when that happens. Of course, if it's not, you just put it in standard. All right, so b squared minus 4 times your a value times your c value. So let's see, 12 squared minus 4 times 9 is 0. Okay. So be careful. When the discriminant equals 0, that actually means you have 1 real solution. Okay. And so it's weird because a lot of times students see the 0 and they think it's 0. That's not true. 0 real solutions happens when you have imaginary. The only way you're going to get imaginary is if your discriminant is negative. All right. So just keep that in the back of your head as you're doing these problems. All right, problem number 5. Oh no, it's not in standard form. So we're going to put it in standard form. So 2x squared minus 8x plus 10 is equal to 0. All right, it's in standard form now. So b squared minus 4a and c. Let's see what we get here. Into my calculator it goes, and I have an answer of negative 16. I just mentioned this, right? A negative answer here, negative discriminant value, means you have no real solutions because your solutions would be imaginary. These directions specifically said to tell the number of real solutions, so the answer is no real solutions. All right, last but not least, problem number 6, also not in standard form. By this point, we've done it a couple of times. We're going to put it in standard form. So x squared minus 4x plus 4 is equal to 0. Use the discriminant. So b squared minus 4a and c. That should be equal to 0. I want to do a quick double check just to make sure my brain is not telling me the wrong answer. It is correct. Okay, I got it 0. So the discriminant equaling 0 means I have 1 real solution. Okay? So I hope this has helped with understanding what the discriminant is and also what information it gives us with regard to a quadratic equation.